Don't allow your selfish desires push you into doing something you will live to regret for the rest of your life. That was exactly what happened to this beautiful princess. Once upon a time, in the ancient kingdom of Okigwe, settled between rolling hills and rich forests, there lived a beautiful princess named Adaku. She was the only daughter of a great king. Her mother, Queen Onome, died few years after Adaku was born, leaving the little princess in the care of a trusted maiden called Obiageli. She was the most trusted of all the late queen's personal maidens, and so she was given the privilege to raise Princess Adaku. Obiageli humbly raised the princess with love and respect until she grew into a beautiful young woman who was adored by the whole kingdom for her beauty. Years later, during a grand ceremony held in the royal palace of Okigwe, a beautiful occasion marked by festivals and celebrations that lasted for several days. During this great event, the princess was betrothed to Prince Ikenna, the son of a wealthy king from a neighboring kingdom. The ceremony was arranged by their parents as part of the customs of their land to unite two powerful kingdoms and strengthen their alliances through this means. Princess Adaku stood in front of the crowd looking absolutely stunning in her beautiful royal attire. Standing beside her was the handsome Prince Ikenna, as they both exchanged their vows to be loyal to each other and maintain a good and smooth relationship for the betterment of their beloved kingdoms. It was a union that was held significance for the future of Okigwe, as it strengthened the bond between the two kingdoms and ensured the constant flow of wealth, love, and peace in the kingdom for generations to come. Despite how loving and caring Prince Ikenna was, the princess' heart was yearning for a brave and handsome warrior known as Obidike. His courage and strength had captured her heart. All she wanted was to have Obidike all to herself. But Obidike's heart belongs to another, a poor and humble young maiden from a nearby village. Her name was Chisom. She was an orphan who lost her parents many years ago, leaving her in the care of her wicked uncle and his wife, who treated her like a slave. One day, when Obidike was returning from the forest, after a long walk, he was tired and thirsty. His water jar was empty. He kept going until he became very weak and couldn't move again. When Chisom, who was returning from the stream, saw him, she rushed over to where he was lying helplessly on the ground. She gave him some water to drink and poured some on his head, after which she sat beside him patiently until he regained his strength. Obidike was surprised when he woke up and behold a beautiful maiden smiling at him. She explained all that happened to Obidike and he was overwhelmed at her kindness. She looked so calm and beautiful. After talking for a while, they became friends and gradually their friendship grew into a strong bond. Princess Adaku, who was consumed by jealousy and hatred for Chisom, after finding out how much Obidike loved and adored her despite being a common slave, she had warned Chisom many times to stay away from Obidike, else she would face her wrath. Chisom's best friend Amuche, a bold and fearless young lady, looked the princess in the face and told her to go and concentrate in her betrothed, Prince Ikenna, and stop fooling herself around, lusting after a man that doesn't even know she exists. This got the princess so angry that she promised to deal with Amuche and Chisom for daring to challenge the crown princess of Okigwe. Chisom, being a calm and peaceful maiden, quickly went on her knee to apologize to the princess and promised her that she was going to stop seeing Obidike. She was still talking when Amuche pulled her up and told her that she would do no such thing. And then she turned to the princess, looked her straight in the face, and asked her to do her worst. Princess Adaku left in anger and promised to come back for them. Chisom was scared and worried for herself and her friend, but Amuche assured her that Obidike would take care of everything. Few days later, Obidike went to see Chisom and she narrated everything to him. She asked him if he was having an affair with the princess. Obidike smiled and assured her that there was nothing going on between him and the princess. He asked her to be calm, that he was going to sort everything out. The next day, Obidike went to the palace to see the princess. When he got to the palace, he met the princess sitting alone in the quiet part of the palace. He greeted her and went straight to the reason why he was there. "Greetings, my princess." The princess looked at him with a smile and responded, "Greetings. great warrior of Okigwe. I hope all is well. Obidike gave her a straight look. I wouldn't be here if all was well, princess. I just came here to ask you a simple question. Why would you bring yourself to the level of going all the way to the next village just to fight and argue with maidens? The princess laughed out so loud. Oh, so your little babies ran to you to report me. I hope they told you how disrespectful they were to me, the princess of Okigwe. Obidike looked at the princess and shook his head. That was wrong, princess. You shouldn't have done that. That maiden you see, Chisom, is the only woman I have ever loved. Before Obidike could say another word, the princess interrupted him. Stop right there, Obidike. It seems you don't understand how I feel about you. I can even do worse than that, just to have you all to myself. Obidike told her that she seriously needed help, because he could clearly see that she was losing it. The princess, wearing deaf ears to what Obidike was saying, she grabbed his hand and told him that she was going crazy for him. He quickly pushed her away and asked her to control herself and stop acting shamelessly. He told her that she was a big disappointment to the king, her father, and the entire Okigwe kingdom, for accepting to be betrothed to a good man like Prince Ikenna when you care less about him. Why did you accept the alliance when you know you don't care about the future of Okigwe? Tell me, princess, were you forced? At this point, the princess was very angry and she screamed at Obidike with so much anger. Yes, it has always been about the kingdom, the people, and so on. No one cared about how I feel or what I ever wanted. My life has always been about my royal duties. I accepted the alliance that day just to avoid my father's wrath. He wouldn't have forgiven me if I had ruined his joy that day by refusing to be betrothed to Prince Ikenna. The princess lowering her tone. Please, Obidike, I'm truly in love with you. It's you I want. I'm ready to break this alliance. Please, Obidike, please understand me. Obidike stopped her immediately. But I don't love you. I do not want you. My heart belongs to another. I can only love Chisom. Please, my beautiful princess, give Prince Ikenna a chance. He truly cares about you. He loves you from the depths of his heart. Everyone can clearly see that. The princess looked at Obidike and told him that it is you or no one else. And get this straight, Obidike. If I, Princess Adaku, the pride of Okigwe, cannot have you, no one can. Mark my words. She walked away as Obidike warned her not to try anything that she would regret later. Throughout that night, the princess couldn't sleep. Obidike's voice kept echoing in her head. She couldn't control her anger as she kept hitting herself continuously. Consumed by her anger, she started hatching a wicked plan to get rid of Chisom and her friend Amuche. Days later, she hired some bad boys from a distant land, paid them huge amounts of money to help her get rid of Chisom and Amuche. Days before carrying out her evil plan, she went to Obidike's house and apologized to him and promised him that she would never bother him or Chisom again. Obidike, who was very happy about what the princess did, thanked her and also apologized to her for speaking to her rudely the other day. Little did he know that the princess was up to something very big. The bad boys secretly monitored Chisom and her friend for days, and finally one evening, as Chisom and Amuche were returning back from the stream, taking their usual shortcut home, they were gisting and laughing with their water pots on their heads when three young men attacked them and dumped their bodies in the bush. At that moment, Obidike started feeling restless. His heart was racing fast as if he knew what had happened. He decided to leave immediately to Chisom's place to make sure she was okay. He went to Amuche's house, where he normally stayed and wait for Chisom. When he got there, he discovered that Chisom and Amuche had gone to the stream some hours ago and they were not back yet. He told her that Amuche must have stopped at Chisom's place to assist her with her chores as usual. They were still talking when Chisom's cousin ran in and asked if Chisom was there, that her mother is waiting for her to bring the water she went to fish. That was when Obidike knew something was really wrong. He ran straight away towards the village stream with Amuche's mother and Chisom's cousin. as they kept asking people if they saw them coming back from the stream. One of the maidens who saw them taking the shortcut told them that they left the stream together, but when they got to a particular spot, Amuche and Chisom took the shorter route home. Amuche's mother started crying as they followed that same route from beginning to the end, searching all the bushes but couldn't find them. Obidike, seeing how restless and worried Amuche's mother was, he asked Chisom's cousin to take her home and inform her parents about what had happened. Obidike stayed back and continued searching. He searched all through the night but couldn't find them. The next morning, Obidike was walking around the bush path, thinking of the next action to take, when he saw signs of footprints leading to the thick bushes. He also noticed some blood stains on the ground. At that point, he became really scared for the love of his life and her best friend. He was still going further when he heard voices and a woman crying. He knew it was Amuche's mother, Chisom uncle, and some villagers. He stopped and waited for them to arrive. When they got there, he told them what he saw, and together they followed the blood stains deep into the thick bushes. They got to a particular spot, and Obidike's heart started beating faster again. He asked them to stop, that he has a strong feeling that they must be around there. They searched for a few minutes, and behold, their lifeless bodies were hidden under the thick bushes. As soon as Obidike saw Chisom's body, he screamed bitterly as he carried her in his arms. Amuche's mother fainted immediately and was rushed to a native doctor. Their bodies were taken home and buried immediately, as they couldn't conduct any burial for them because they were still very young and unmarried. Their deaths left a huge vacuum in the hearts of their loved ones. It was after Chisom's death that her uncle and his wife realized how badly they had treated Chisom. Obidike returned back to his kingdom with a broken heart after burying his lover. He never suspected the princess because he believes that the princess was too calm and innocent to think of such evil. Days after Chisom's death, the princess went over to Obidike's house to sympathize with him. She consoled him and left with the hope that he would finally give her a chance. On getting to the palace, the king called the princess and informed her that Prince Ikenna and his people would be coming to pay her dowry in a few days. She stood up angrily and told her father that she can't marry the prince because she doesn't love him. The king looked at his daughter lovingly and asked her to calm down, that he wouldn't force her into any marriage without her consent. The princess sat down quietly and apologized to the king for speaking rudely. The king smiled and told her that he cared more about her happiness than any alliances. He asked her if she was interested in anyone else, and she told him about Obidike, the great warrior, and how he just lost the girl he loved dearly. The king sent for Obidike, who came as soon as he was informed about the king's call. When Obidike got to the palace, the king spoke to him politely and sympathized with him over the death of his lover. He thanked the king for his concern, and when he was about leaving, the king told him about his daughter's feelings towards him, and how he had called off the engagement between Prince Ikenna and the princess because he cared more about his daughter's happiness than wealth and influence. Obidike, who couldn't refuse the king's proposal, pleaded with him to give him a little time to heal from his loss. The king told him it was okay, that he could take his time. As soon as he left the palace, the princess, upon seeing how much her father cared about her happiness, she started shedding tears of regret. The guilt of her evil deeds started haunting her from that moment. When Obidike got home, he thought about the king's proposal. He could see a loving father, a great leader, and a friend to all. No doubt, the king had always put the happiness of his loved ones and the entire Okigwe first before his personal interest. Reasons why other kingdoms would always want to associate with the great and mighty Okigwe, the land of peace. After a long thought, Obidike decided to marry Princess Adaku. This news brought a lot of joy to the princess, but she was dying slowly, out of guilt and regret. Amuche and Chisom's spirits haunt her day and night. The villagers were beginning to notice how frightened the princess looks, creating rooms for gossips among the villagers. Many said the princess was looking rather scared, instead of the usual glow of a happy bride. Even the palace maids Notice how the princess ran in and out of her room as if she was chased by a masquerade. This gave Obiageli so much concern that she asked the princess if everything was okay, and she told her not to worry, that she was perfectly fine. Before Obiageli could say another word, she ordered her to leave, that she wanted to be left alone. The poor woman left the princess' room quietly, with many thoughts running through her mind. Could it be that the princess did something wrong? Did she commit any crime? Why does she keep screaming every night? I kept hearing, "Please forgive me. I will confess." I hope my thoughts are wrong. My princess can't hurt a fly. Talk more of taking a life. Obiageli, the palace maid, who raised the princess with so much love, was very worried and concerned about her sudden change of attitude. The once cheerful and brave Princess Adaku, now looking like a prisoner in her father's palace. The king tried to find out what was wrong, but the princess told him that she was just overwhelmed with joy, that she would finally be married to a man she loved so much. And she's also worried about how marriage life is going to be like for her. Will she also leave her child like her mom did? This got the king so emotional as he consoled his daughter, who was only pretending to be worried about how her marriage life would be. On the day of Obidike and Princess Adaku's wedding, the whole community gathered in the palace, including kingdoms from far and near. It was a grand occasion, as the pride of Okigwe was getting married to the brave and strongest warrior of Okigwe. There were lots of performances from the beautiful maidens of Okigwe. After much entertainment, it was time for the main ceremony. The princess was given a cup of wine to present to her groom. As she was dancing towards where Obidike was seated, there was a sudden darkness in the palace. Few minutes later, the whole place was bright again. Suddenly, the princess started screaming as the cup of wine dropped from her hands. In place of Obidike, Amuche and Chisom were seated right in front of her, with long canes ready to flog her mercilessly. She started shouting as everyone came closer to see what was happening to the princess. Amuche and Chisom started flogging her, telling her to confess. She fell on the ground and started talking. "I will confess. Please stop hitting me." The king, her father, couldn't understand what was happening to his daughter. He couldn't talk or move. He was just on the spot watching his daughter. The princess confessed to everyone, telling them how he killed Chisom, Obidike's lover from a nearby community, and her best friend Amuche, because they were the reason why Obidike never wanted her. Obidike couldn't believe that the princess could get to that level. He couldn't say a word. He was just crying bitterly. While the princess kept shouting, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm sorry, father. Please, everyone, forgive me." The whole kingdom of Okigwe, gathered in the palace, were shocked and surprised that their own pride, the only daughter of a great king, committed such a crime. Like she could take the life of another. They were still talking among them when they heard a woman crying and running towards the princess as the guards tried to stop her. It was Amuche's mother. She was also present in the palace. She insisted that she wanted justice for her daughter. Finally, the king stood up with his eyes looking very red as he tried to prevent his tears from coming out. He told Amuche's mother to be calm, that her daughter and her friend would surely get justice. He turned to the people and told them that apart from being a father, he is a king and also a father to the entire Okigwe and the neighboring communities. So, he must give a fair judgment to all. He expressed his disappointment towards the princess, a child he loved so much. This pain was too much for him to bear, as he pronounced his judgment on his daughter, the crown princess of Okigwe. He said from that day henceforth, Adaku ceased to be called the daughter of Okigwe. She is no longer the princess of this land, as she will be thrown into the evil forest, where she will meet a terrible death. No one, not even my own daughter, deserved mercy after committing such a terrible crime. He ordered the guards to take the princess away. At this point, he broke down in tears as the elders quickly took him inside. The whole community was left in total silence for days. The once cheerful Okigwe has suddenly turned cold, all because of a desperate princess. The palace was filled with sadness. The once happy king has become a sad and moody king. His whole world was turned dark. The king lived the rest of his life mourning his daughter, the only thing that gave his life a meaning. And so the tale of the princess served as a reminder to everyone to always be mindful of the decisions we take. Sometimes our decision might lead us into something we never expected. Just like the princess' action affected the king, her father, and the entire kingdom. That's exactly how most of our decisions affect the people around us, either negatively or positively. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of the story of Princess Adaku. Drop your comments in the comment section and tell us what you think about the story. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting videos. Also turn on the bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you. See you guys in my next video. Bye for now.